Good afternoon, Staff Sergeant Tillett. I'm Sergeant Penson, and I'm going to be talking about the Army values. This is Bravo 104 Public Speaking. This brief is unclassified. So my topic is the Army values. Everyone in the Army should know. They don't always know, but they should know the acronym LEADERSHIP. It stands for loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Each one of these values are the 7 core values of what the Army believes in to create a soldier in today's Army. Each value holds its own meaning, and some people hold on to more of one value than another. So the purpose of this of the Army values is to create a better the purpose of this brief is to go over creating a better understanding of why these are the 7 core Army values, to educate on a deeper level of the 7 core Army values, and what everyday life would be without these values. All right. So, why were these values adopted into the Army? Well, they had to match society's norms. It's not just the Army that has values, it's everyone. Outside life, different countries, everywhere you go. Some people have their own values, their own upbringings, and everything of that sort. So the Army took it into initiative to create values that are somewhat similar and match what goes on in regular society. Another reason why the Army adopted them was to preserve the Army and to create a strong unity between everyone. While holding people accountable for integrity, honor, personal courage, just to name a few, you're holding people accountable if they're not following these values. You're creating a bond between soldiers that do hold these values dear to them. That only makes a stronger team, stronger force. So another reason why is to build up soldiers. In basic training, you get the basic training and they break you down mentally, physically, all of that. Everyone knows that who's been in the Army. But then the next day they're instilling in these 7 core values that this is what you must live by. At first, you probably just think they're just some words that nobody really goes by. But as they push them into you, and you see that everybody else is going by them, you start to realize that these values are what makes a soldier. These values also shape our future, because if we come in here and we don't have soldiers living these values, then as we continue to move forward, it's just going to be a breakdown over time. Creating strong teams is a super important aspect of the Army. We need to be able to engage and destroy the enemy. And if we can't even trust each other to hold each other accountable, or even just to have some of these values, how are we supposed to defend our country? All right, so the next topic, what they mean to us. So they mean a lot to us because, as I covered before, everyday soldier life, you need to be able to trust your team through integrity. You need to understand that your team has honor. That's what you join the Army for. Most people join the Army for, is to serve the country. Self-discipline. Selfless service is another big one. It's you giving up a lot. Not always, but you're giving up a lot in order to fight for your country and to put others before yourself. That's a big goal, and it means a lot to a lot of people. The definition of value. The dictionary defines it as relative worth, merit, or importance. So I interpret it as the value is what we hold dear to ourselves, which is why the Army didn't just pick one value. They picked 7. And these are only the core ones. Everybody has their own other values that they can bring to the table, and it helps shape and build teams. Without them, where would we be? They create a balance. So without this balance, without trust, without honor, without a lot of these different values, you can't even build a team on a sturdy foundation that would last. You would have a team that's just slightly put together, and a team that's probably not going to work well together at all. And that's not what the Army's about. No value means little trust in the breakdown of teams, like I said. Without these values, without any values, you can't really see where yourself would be. 2 values that really resonate with myself would be integrity. I pride myself on just doing the right thing, even when no one's looking. And I feel as though a lot of soldiers do this, especially when it comes to like my job supply and whatnot. We manage so much money, we manage teams, friends, other soldiers, and it's just without integrity, you're setting yourself up for failure. If your lower enlisted can't trust you, how are you gonna get them to push forward and fight for you if you need that? Another one that really resonates with me would be duty. I take pride in my work. I do. I'm not the best at stuff like this, like public speaking, but I take pride in my job. And I see that all throughout the Army. That is a big value I see. People might not always like going to work and everything, but I see soldiers left and right always getting the job done. That when there's a job to be done, that's what we're here for, and that's why this is one of our 7 core values. So they were created. Why were these values created? They were created to protect and build future generations. It's a generation thing. If you continue to push through the future and there's no sense of integrity, honor, you're not going to get quality soldiers coming through the Army. That's why the Army set up 7 core values to be pushed into soldiers when they go through basic. They make them understand that without these values, how are you supposed to build a team? And we're all about the team, one force, pushing forward. The Army values define who we are as soldiers. They're what we live by every day. We don't always notice it, but from day to day, you live these core values. Some people don't, but 9 times out of 10, these soldiers are pushing through whatever they got to do, and they don't always notice. But these values are always in the back of their head. The Army values are not just words relevant to the Army. They are ethics that can push soldiers to achieve greater heights, even outside of the uniform. Like I said earlier, without these values, where would we be? And then it also pertains to when you get out of the Army. Society already has its values set up. People want to hire people with integrity, honor, duty, respect, just to name a few. If you can't bring these, then how are you supposed to survive when you do put this uniform down one day? You can't wear it forever. And with these values that the Army has pushed, it aligns yourself to be able to get out of the Army and still adapt to normal life. And it's just, you should be able to take pride in the values you did learn and push forward. This concludes my brief. If there's any questions, now's the time to ask. The Army values always what we should live by, and everybody should always know the acronym leadership. Thank you, Staff Sergeant Tillett, and this concludes my brief.